video is very kindly sponsored by MPB.
Well, hello friends, how's it going? And welcome to Istanbul, where I'm shooting some street for a week or so with some friends who I'll introduce you to at some point. You'll know many of them. But if you watch this channel from time to time, you'll know that I probably wouldn't class myself as much of a street photographer. I love the challenge of street photography, but I just don't get that much of a chance to do it because I don't live in or near any particularly big cities these days, and that's by design. But I love visiting cities. I love the vibrance of them, the cultures, the clash of cultures, the food. Probably should have started with the food, to be honest, but I love shooting street is what I'm trying to say. I just don't get much of a chance to do it, and therefore I'm always rusty when I'm shooting street. But today what I thought I could do is give you some tips that I've found useful for shooting street if you don't get much of a chance to shoot street, or if you just want to give it a go, if it's very new to you. So that's what this video is about. That ferry sounds like a whale. Right, it's just gone 9 AM and I'm already through one battery, which I'd love to say is down to sheer shooting, but it's not. The SL3's battery life is just, it leaves a lot to be desired. But anyway, tip number one, when I'm in cities, I try and shoot more with what's behind my eyes than with my eyes. That doesn't make much sense. If I'm stood in front of a massive vista, perhaps at the coast or in the mountains, I typically end up thinking, well, I like the look of that, I'll shoot that. In a city, I try and find things that are interesting to what's behind my eyes more. My tiny, tiny brain. It's very unlikely that you're going to end up with portfolio-worthy, very beautiful vistas consistently in a city. This is a terrible place to do this tip because this is quite a nice vista. But normally you're in tight little streets, the light's not perfect. It's better, I find, to look for things that, yeah, as I say, interest your mind, not just your eyes. To be honest, that's a really good tip for photography generally, but particularly in cities. I don't know that I've explained that particularly well. It's my best tip as well. Not much point watching anymore. I love this bridge. Doesn't seem to matter what time of day you come here, it's always full of fishermen. And most of them, the vast majority, seem pretty receptive to being photographed as well. It's great. But tip number two, f8 500th of a second. Or even better, f8 auto ISO minimum shutter speed 500th of a second. Basically, if I miss shots, I want it to be because of a complete lack of skill, not because I've got the wrong settings. And having those as default settings means that I'm ready for any eventuality. More often than not, I find on the street, you do have time to play around with your settings as the scene develops, especially if you've anticipated something's going to happen rather than notice something that is happening. But sometimes you don't have the time, and with those settings, you're good to go. Yeah. Those clouds over there are just insane. Look at this. Little fishies. Well, I have just spent too long a period of time in a neighborhood called Balat, which is a beautiful neighborhood, very colorful, very nice, but it was also 95% people like me, tourists. And whenever I get off a plane, that I got on at home, I don't want to be surrounded by people like me. I want to be surrounded by locals, so let's go and try somewhere else. What's the point of this video again? Oh yes, another thing that I've learned about shooting street photography, or attempting to do street photography, is the importance of letting yourself be seen. If you're an introvert, or perhaps you're just not used to shooting people, it's tempting to kind of go around like this, using electronic shutter, trying to be sneaky about getting your shots. The thing is, I've learned that you're never more visible than when you're attempting to be invisible. If people can't really see what your intentions are, then they'll watch you very closely until they can work out what your intentions are. And if you're just very clearly taking photos, then people know straight away what your intentions are. And chances are they'll probably go back to doing whatever it is that they're doing. Unless they don't want you to take photos of them, in which case they'll let you know. But unless you're, I don't know, in a private space, or you're taking photos of people who are very clearly vulnerable, you're not doing anything wrong. So don't act like you are doing something wrong, is what I've learned. Also on that point, actually, I'm not saying that I think you always need to make your presence known. Which way am I going? I go this way. No, go this way. Yeah, I don't think you always need to make your presence known. People talk about not bruising the scene, for instance. I'm just saying that if you think there's a chance people will notice you, I think it's advantageous to be very obvious about what it is that you're doing. And I think you're more likely to get natural results and natural behaviors if people can tell what you're doing than if they're trying to guess what it is that you're doing. A lot of the time people don't know that I'm there taking photos, but if I think there's a chance that they will know I'm there, then I don't try and hide what I'm doing. Yeah. It's just an exposed wire on the pavement. I'm sure it's absolutely fine. If you're an electrician, let me know. Is that what I think it is? Don't know. I've had way too much coffee today. I don't think I've had any drinks that didn't involve caffeine, and it's 2:30, which is not ideal. It shakes. Anyway, another thing I like to try and think about on trips like this is to attempt, at least, and I'm not very good at this, but to attempt to follow my nose as opposed to my lens. I don't like going to places just for photos. It starts to feel a bit contrived, and the photos that I get as a result of doing that, I'm not as connected to as ones that I find randomly just by following my curiosities outside of photography. I have like a bit of a rule with myself, which is that I only really want to travel to places that I'd be happy to go without a camera. And even though I wouldn't go to any of those places without a camera, I find that stands me in pretty good stead for finding genuinely interesting stuff, or stuff that's interesting to me. And like I said, the photos that I get as a result of doing that, I find I'm a bit more connected to. Oh, I feel shaky. But I'm pleased I'm not walking up these steps. Boat's moving around quite a bit now, and I'm feeling it. Anyway, I'll talk to take my mind off it. One of the other things I find really useful when I'm shooting street is something I've talked about before on the channel, which is the 3-shot rule. Essentially, I'm trying to vary the distance between me and my subject all the time. It's pretty rare, I think, in my experience at least, when you're shooting street, that you're going to end up with a really nice big wide vista that becomes a portfolio shot. It's a much more common experience to go home with lots and lots of photos that you can try and build a story from. And when I'm curating and I'm in that process, I find it really useful to have 3 different kinds of shots. I mean, it doesn't have to be as structured as that, but varying the distance between me and my subject, I find, gives me a really nice variety of photography to choose from when I'm putting together a web page or a book or whatever it might be. Ooh. I don't cope well with the sea. Well, I'm delighted to be back on dry land. I didn't like that ferry. It wasn't even choppy, but I suspect that it was like a flat-bottomed ferry. It must have been, otherwise I am literally useless on water. I mean, I know I am. Those of you who are in Antarctica this year will recall me attempting to begin a presentation at the exact moment that we set sail across the Drake towards South America. And we were trying to dodge a storm, so it was a bit choppy. And I ended up on all fours, sweating profusely, basically. Everyone else seemed fine. I remember I got back to my cabin, and all I wanted to do was lie down. But I immediately spilt a can of Coke Zero all over my bed. So I was just sort of lying on this way. Wasn't good. Seems to be just me though. So next time, if you'd like to watch me completely unravel, link in the description to our next Antarctica trip. I have a plan actually for the next Antarctica trip, which is just to take the medication when they tell you to take the medication. Mostly. Anyway, Istanbul, fantastic city, and actually I found it much easier than most other cities to get away from the tourists. So that was nice. But when I got on the plane to come home a couple of days ago, I didn't feel massively excited about any of the photos that I'd taken. Having edited this video now, a couple of them are growing on me, and there might be 1 or 2 candidates for my my long-term project, Adored Shores. So that's quite exciting. But yeah, fantastic trip. The friends that I was with, all photography friends, I'll link to in the description. I mean, I don't particularly like shooting with other people and with friends and stuff because I just end up chatting and not concentrating. But when I do shoot with other people, I always find it so inspiring. And we didn't shoot together a whole lot, but we had dinners together and coffee and stuff. And it's just nice to spend time with other photographers. I love it. And as I say, very inspiring. All men, because seemingly we're incapable of talking to women. Yeah. Also, apologies if I've caused any offence by including those photos of the guy on the flag. I assume that's a very important person in Turkish culture, but people or faces on flags in the wind do funny things, so I couldn't resist. No offence intended. Also, my grumbling stomach has reminded me of a couple of other tips that I didn't get to. Stop for refreshments when you're doing street photography, and not just coffee, as I sometimes do. Street photography is a little bit different in my experience to other kinds of photography in that if you're doing landscape photography, for instance, you'll probably know ahead of time if you stand a good chance of a great photo or a photo that you're going to be very excited about. You can see what conditions you've got, you can see the lay of the land. It's going to be obvious before you shoot what kind of thing you're going to get. With street photography though, a shot of a lifetime could literally be around the corner in a matter of seconds' time, and you might have no idea what you're about to see. That means you need to concentrate, and I find that means you need breaks from concentration. So yeah, go for a coffee, go for a Turkish tea with a local maybe. It's important to have rest. Also, smile. Not very many people in these big cities smile at each other, and I find that it really opens up the chance of interactions. And also maybe photos. So yeah, it's worth smiling at people, I find. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and a big thank you also to the sponsor of this week's video, MPB. So, if you have camera equipment that you're not using anymore that could be moved on in order to help fund a trip to Istanbul, or anywhere else, then I would highly recommend checking out MPB to help you sell it. And as somebody who's sold a lot of equipment over the years, selling used to be my least favourite thing. I'd have to photograph all the stuff, I'd have to list it, I'd have to deal with questions, I'd have to deal with insurance, couriers, disputes,
I hated it. But selling to MPB could not be simpler. You go to their website, get an instant quote, and if you're happy with that quote, then they will arrange for a courier to come directly to your house to pick up your kit, completely insured, and then once they receive it, they'll assess it, and once they've done that, they'll pay you very quickly. It's a seamless process, could not be simpler. MPB is also my favourite place to buy camera gear online as well, because you can save hundreds, if not thousands, by buying used. And if you do buy used on MPB, it's all checked by experts before being placed on their website, and everything comes with a warranty. And of course, buying cameras used online can be a little bit Wild Westy, but not on MPB. So yes, thank you MPB to their continued support of this channel. Links in the description if you're interested in checking them out. And thank you to you for watching. I'll see you next time. And hopefully I'm not on a boat. I don't think I will be.